it to back to your experience with the Tea Party. Now we know from here in 2024, it's fizzled out, right? No one really knows who the Tea Party
Yep.
is anymore, and it started out
Yep.
as a great movement. Can you give us a rundown of the pitfalls that basically made that an afterthought, and then tell us how maybe we can avoid those pitfalls moving forward?
Yeah, so there's a couple things I want to say about that. I've become a student of movements. I'm probably like this is the place that God put me. I've been at the peak of two political movements in my life now. And I would say, especially the Tea Party movement, I didn't start that. God started that. That was in the hearts and minds of the American people. And I rode that wave. It's like a surfer comes out of the surf riding the perfect wave. You don't say, beautiful wave you made. You say, great job surfing that wave. So I surfed that wave. And I studied it. I've studied movements throughout history, in American history, especially. And one of the things that I've noticed about movements is if they're successful, then they go away, which sounds a little bit counterintuitive. If they work at all, they go away. And the reason that is because when they work, if they're a political movement, then the people who lead that movement and members of that movement become part of the system or entirely overthrow the system. But in our case, become part of the system. And that's what Tea Party folks did. So if you look, the Tea Party runs its course, and people like me are now leading other organizations. They're sitting in state legislatures. They were elected to school boards, county councils. They've been in Congress. And I would argue that the 2016 election was sort of like the very end of the spear for the Tea Party movement. You've got Marco Rubio came out of the Tea Party movement. Mike Lee came out of the Tea Party movement. Ted Cruz came out of the Tea Party movement. Rand Paul came out of the Tea Party movement. It did what it was supposed to do, in that a bunch of these people ended up inside the system and exerted their influence. So that's the success of the movement. I think there's a lot of failure in the movement too. And I would take personally a lot of the blame for that. And what I mean by that is we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't understand how the political system worked. We were naive. I believe that in 2010, when we flipped the largest swing class in the history of Congress since 1938, that everything would change. I didn't understand how the levers and buttons of power really worked. So we came in, and I would say we didn't have a plan. In other words, what we came in with was, we're mad. We believe in fiscal responsibility, constitutionally limited government, and free markets. Those were our guiding principles. And we're going to elect people who believe that. And that was the extent of our plan. That's not really a plan. You got to have a plan about how you are going to institute actual institutional change over time. And so when we didn't have that, we were literally just overrun by the swamp, what people now call the deep state. They knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't like us. They thought it was kind of cute what we had done. And they just steamrolled us immediately. And so I would say, for anybody who is getting engaged in politics now, you dang well better have a plan. You better know what you intend to accomplish, associate with organizations and people that have a good executable plan, because otherwise you're just going to get steamrolled, because our enemies do have a plan.